It was the final day of hearings for the Parliamentary Committee on the Voice. Hardly any time, of course, for people to make a submission on the PM's planned changes to our constitution. Barely any time for people to give their testimony. But that's, of course, by design. The best chance this voice has of getting up is that if people don't know what it really entails and how radically it will change Australia forever. No surprises here too that the Labor majority on the committee didn't want Tony Abbott to appear. After all, this is a former PM who helped win the fight against the Republic referendum back in 1999 and for much of his life has been a champion of Aboriginal advancement. This morning he was blocked from appearing, but once he went public, there was a last-minute back down, and at 1 p.m. today, he turned up in Canberra and had his say. Abbott, as you would know, is not against constitutional recognition for Indigenous Australians, but is steadfast in his opposition to the proposal that's currently on the table. Today, Tony Abbott reiterated that the voice is wrong in principle and potentially quite dangerous in practice. I'm pleased to say the former Prime Minister, Tony Abbott, joins me now here in Melbourne. Tony Abbott, let's go to the circumstances first of how you ended up today, because originally you were told you were not welcome to give your testimony.
That's right, Peter. When I put in my submission a week or so back, I asked to appear before the committee. I called and let the Deputy Chairman know that I was very keen to speak to the committee, and I was assured that that was most likely. And then I was told yesterday that that had been vetoed. Now, I don't know exactly how or why. I presume that's confidential. But look, the truth is they did relent, and let's be grateful that I did have the chance to say my piece today.
It got quite testy, and I do notice that anyone who wants to debate, however rationally, the argument for and against the voice, it's a different treatment of those in the no camp than it is in the yes camp. I want to play a little bit for my audience today. Sharon Clayton, a Labor member, basically try to infer that you've backflipped on your position in relation to Aboriginal issues. Let's have a listen.
In 2017, when you were prepared to sweat blood to ensure constitutional recognition, we're in 2023. Why change?
I still think it is important that we achieve Indigenous recognition, but this is so much more than recognition. This is about government. I don't want to change the way we're governed. I just want to acknowledge the fact that Indigenous people were here first.
What I find interesting, a lot of the proponents for the voice often cite you and John Howard as being in favour of what they're putting on the table. Clarify that for us.
Well, both John Howard and I support constitutional recognition, and you might remember John Howard first put it on the table in the run-up to the 2007 election, and it's been the Coalition's policy ever since to have recognition. But this voice is so much more than recognition. It's about power, as you said in your editorial earlier, and I certainly don't support the voice. And as far as I'm aware, John Howard certainly doesn't support the voice, and he's said some things on the record, and I assume he'll say more as time goes by. There is tremendous goodwill to Aboriginal people. There is a tremendous desire to do the right thing by Aboriginal people, but this voice isn't it. And that's what I think people need to understand. It's much more than recognition. It's effectively a blank cheque on the Constitution. What the government is asking us to do is to vote yes now, and then they'll tell us what yes means afterwards. And I just think that's wrong.